Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Joni Ogg, and on behalf of the travel professional community and Travel Professional News, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and join us today. We know these have been some interesting, to say the least, turbulent times for our industry, but I think we're coming out the other side, and we really appreciate you being here and choosing to spend some time with us. Our host today is Nexen Travel Group, and we're really excited because we have my friend and esteemed colleague, Jackie Friedman, the president of Nexen Travel Group, here with us today. 1984, with experience in both retail and host agency organizations. In addition to travel agency operations, she also spent 15 years working in various global GDS sales and consulting capacities with travel agencies and Sabre sales teams throughout North America, Europe, Australia, Asia, and Latin America. Now, Jackie serves on a lot of industry boards, and I'm going to name some of those for you. The American Society of Travel Agents, ASTA, she's on the board of directors. Congratulations on that, Jackie. Cruise Lines International Society, CLIA, Starboard, Professional Association of Travel Hosts, PATH, which is a great organization, Board of Directors, and the Travel Institute Board of Trustees. That's really amazing. We love that group. So Jackie also serves on these supplier advisory boards: Carnival Cruise Line, Celebrity Cruises, Disney Destinations, Globus Family of Brands, Holland America Line, Princess Cruises, and Royal Caribbean. So when I say we have a rock star here, we do have a rock star here with us today. So I'm so happy to have her. It's an honor. And today's topic is making orange juice out of lemons, 6 solutions to crush adversity and get up and go. So remember that you're all muted, but we're going to welcome your questions. So just type those questions at any time in the question area that you see on the right hand side of on your screen. And when Jackie's all done and the presentation is over, we're going to take as many questions as we can. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Jackie now so she can get started. Welcome, Jackie.
Thanks so much, Joni. It is absolutely great to be here. You know, guys, you've probably heard the saying, making lemonade out of lemons, but today we're not going to make lemonade. We are going to make a perfect glass of orange juice. And I'm going to talk about 6 key ingredients to help you make that perfect glass of orange juice. Now, you might be wondering what qualifies me to teach you how to make orange juice. The fact is that I've been in this industry for over 35 years. And during that time, I have seen a lot of changes. In fact, if you go back to the very beginning of Nexen Travel Group, we started 25 years ago in 1995. And that was right after the airlines first capped commissions. Now, some of you may have been in the industry back then. Agencies were scared. They were concerned about how they were going to survive the loss of that commission income that they had really relied upon. But for others, they realized that it presented an opportunity. They could move their business home. They could give up their ARC appointments or their GDS contracts, and they could start charging service fees to supplement that commission income that they were no longer getting. Some agencies shifted more into pure leisure, but they knew that they had to change. And many successful businesses reinvented themselves, and they found new revenue streams and new ways of operating. So now let's fast forward 25 years. Some of you may have to make some similar changes to how you operate your business. So I'm joined today by 3 rock stars, my fabulous sales team, Carlin, Wendy, and Erica. So after this webinar, if any of you want to talk to them about how Nexen Travel Group might help you with your perfect orange juice and help you reinvent your business, any one of them would be happy to speak with you. So it's hard to believe the impact that the past few months have had on all of us. COVID-19 has rocked our industry. Think about it, travel came to a standstill, and no one knows for sure how or when we'll start to see a recovery. But our passion for the travel industry, and more importantly, our passion for all of those people who are lucky enough to make their careers in this great industry has really helped us get through these difficult days. But for those of you who are currently working in the industry, these past 3 months have brought unprecedented challenges. You've spent far too much time dealing with trip cancellations and processing refunds or credits. You've had to stay on top of so many different supplier policies that change by the day and sometimes maybe even by the hour. You've had to console customers who are just so disappointed about their canceled vacation plans. And you've probably spent countless hours on hold with suppliers being there to help your customers resolve their issues. Most of you have seen some or most of your hard-earned commissions returned as a result of canceled vacations. And how we communicate has changed as well. Zoom is our new normal. We've had to adjust in terms of how we connect with customers and colleagues. And for some of you, you had to do double duty homeschooling your kids. So it's not surprising that some of you may feel like just putting your head down on your desk and ask for help. And you may be asking, when will this all be over? When will things get back to normal? And my answer is that I really, really wish I knew. I wish that I had a crystal ball that would allow me to see when business will get back to normal. But unfortunately, I don't. What I do is I make it a point to keep myself informed, to listen to the experts, and ensure that I am planning and preparing for the business recovery that I know we'll see in the industry. Now, the fact is there is some good news. It's not all doom and gloom. What we've seen here at Nexion Travel Group over the past few months is that there really hasn't been that much of a slowdown in terms of new people wanting to come into the travel industry. People with a passion for travel, people with a passion to work with other people. Now they have the time to learn the industry, to take the training so that when business picks up, they'll be ready. And for those of you who are experienced advisors, I am amazed by the fact that you have proven to be resilient and optimistic. Our industry has had our shares of ups and downs, but one thing that doesn't change, people want to travel. It's really just a matter of when. I've also seen, more now than ever, the fact that our industry is coming together as a community. I see a lot more collaboration and competition. You know, one of the things I love to see is many of our Nexen Travel Group members have these local networks. They're meeting in small groups virtually. They may be meeting with a supplier, or they may be sharing stories and best practices. And most important, they're there to lift each other up. You know, another silver lining is the fact that many of you have time now to get educated. There are some great opportunities right now. Many of you, in fact, a record number of folks, took advantage of ASTA's offer and did the VTA training and certification. For those of you rolling cruises, it's a great time to maybe look at one of the CLIA certification programs. And right now, there is no better time to look into Travel Institute certification because they just kicked off their annual Promote Your Professionalism campaign. You can apply for a 50% off scholarship on a CPA, CTC, or CTIE certification. Now it's also a great time to brush up on learning new destinations or new travel products. Why not take training programs for some suppliers that you haven't sold before, but that you may want to add into your book of suppliers that you work with? Because there's no time like the present to invest in yourself so that you'll be ready for when that pent-up demand that is out there really starts to realize itself. You know, we've all spent a lot of time sheltering at home. And I don't know about you, but I am ready to get back on a plane and get out there traveling. I am sure that some of your customers probably feel exactly the same way. And if they're not ready yet, they're probably ready to start dreaming about trips that they'd love to take in the future. So why not be there for them, to help them dream and to encourage them to plan a future vacation? Because it's so important that we have something to look forward to. They say it takes a crisis, but out of this crisis, there is no doubt that the travel advisor is valued more than ever before. You know, just think about those poor consumers who booked their own trips during this pandemic. They have to navigate their way through the complex cancellation and change fees. They have to wait on hold for hours to try and get reaccommodated. They don't have you in their corner to help them. So trust me, these consumers will be thinking twice about not using a travel advisor for their next vacation. And the question is, will you be there for them? So now we're ready. We're ready to look at the recipe for making that perfect glass of orange juice. Now, there are 6 ingredients that we're going to look at. Those ingredients are positivity, business savvy, adaptability, connection, communication, and finally, partnership. All of these ingredients need to be there in perfect proportion. So, the first ingredient, crushing adversity, is positivity. You got to shift your focus from what you can't do to what you can do. Because someone with a can-do attitude is positive and ready to take on anything. You will face circumstances that may seem insurmountable, just like what we're facing right now. But how you react will determine how long you stay down. You got to be confident and resourceful in the face of challenges. You have a choice to turn a crisis into an opportunity. It really takes 3 steps: to dream it, to believe it, and ultimately to achieve it. And for many, it starts with a dream. We all have them, especially when we were young. You know, we may have dreamt of being a football player or an astronaut or a famous movie star. Unfortunately, a lot of us lose sight of our dreams as we kind of fall into everyday routines of our life. But entrepreneurs, they go after their dreams, and they have the determination and the drive to turn I wish into I will. So if you've been struggling recently, you know, a good place to start is with your passion. Remember why you got into the travel industry in the first place. And for those of you who are new and just considering a career in the travel industry, what was it about this business that appeals to you? It's a great opportunity to focus on a passion, such as a hobby or interest, that could become the foundation of a really successful travel business. Maybe you're into wellness or culinary or sports, or maybe you want to focus on a specific region of the world. Or maybe it's a demographic or psychographic customer you want to go after. Some of you might want to specialize helping travelers with special needs or in working with multi-generational family travel. The important thing is to follow your passion, because if you love what you do and it fulfills you both personally and professionally, you're much more likely to be successful. Now is a good time to review your vision as well as your goals and adjust as needed. So think of your vision as your articulation of the dreams and hopes that you have for your business. It'll provide you with a framework for your strategic and tactical planning. Next, you want to set goals for yourself, and these goals should be SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Because successful entrepreneurs have goals, and more importantly, they write them down, and they review them regularly to keep themselves accountable. They are driven to achieve, and in many cases, even to exceed the challenging goals that they set up for their business. Now, many of you are probably independent advisors, and you are your business. But please remember that you're not alone. You want to surround yourself with a supportive network of people who are in your corner. Think of them as your personal advisory board. You may turn to friends or family. Maybe you have colleagues or acquaintances who have built successful businesses in other industries. You also want to take the opportunity to collaborate with other advisors, suppliers, and other industry partners. And please remember to leverage the resources that are offered to you by host agencies like Nexion Travel Group. So go after your dreams and never say never. But if you think you can't, then you're right. Because positivity means that you need to truly believe in your ability to be successful. So go ahead and visualize what success looks like. You got to let yourself see your dream as if it is already completed. You're successful. How do you feel personally? What does it mean professionally? This is visualization, and there is so much power in visualization. Because it's important to stay positive, even though there may be times, like right now, where you feel discouraged. It really is too easy to let ourselves get caught up in negativity. You've got to be aware of what or who brings you down, and you want to try and avoid those situations. Surround yourself with positive people. Now, you have to be prepared to take risks and actually embrace them. You will likely fail from time to time, especially if you're stretching yourself to achieve and reach for lofty goals. Think about it. If something comes too easily, you may not be setting your sights high enough. Building and running a successful business takes hard work, especially now. So it's important to be realistic with the time and the energy that you're prepared to dedicate to growing your business. Now, I know many of you may be in this as a part-time adventure. So you have to ensure that your expectations are aligned with your availability. Be aware that excuses can impede your road to success, can distract you, and keep you from having your eye on the prize. Clearly, unexpected things come up, and they will distract you, and you will have to deal with those. That's the nature of this business, and that is certainly something that we're all facing right now. But when obstacles come up, I want you to think about them simply as a detour on your journey towards your final goal. Focus again on what you can do and not what you can't do. And remember that you can't control events, but what you can control is your attitude towards them. Look for ways to turn obstacles into opportunities. So now comes the fun part. Putting a plan together that'll help you achieve your dream. You want to take the time to put together a written, practical plan. This plan will list the specific initiatives that you want to do that you believe will help you achieve your goals. You want to outline who needs to take action or ownership of each initiative, when you're going to do it, and important also, what outcome you want to achieve by each initiative. Don't stop once you've created your plan, because you need to regularly review it, and you're going to want to refine it. Some of these things that you thought of earlier in the year may not make sense anymore. I also urge you to identify milestones along the way that will keep you motivated and that will keep you engaged. And you got to make sure that you measure your results. Did you achieve the targets that you set for yourself? Did you get the return on investment that you were hoping for? If not, think about what you might want to change the next time or modify to get a better result when you try these things again or try something different. Because not everything's going to work, but if you don't try, you'll never know. And please don't let yourself get discouraged. Learn from it, recalibrate, and move on. But most importantly, have fun. You're an entrepreneur, and you should be in this business because you love what you do. Okay, so now we are all pumped with positivity. So let's dive into the second ingredient, business savvy. Minding your business includes taking the time to review your business plan. If you don't have one, why not take advantage of this time to put one together? And once you have your plan, the key will be to review every aspect of your current operation so that you can be bold enough and challenge yourself to find opportunities to change. Because the reality is that right now, most of us are having tough times, and we have a lot less income currently coming in. So it's important that we find ways of reducing costs and cash outflow and managing operating expenses. So here are a couple of suggestions. Identify if there are opportunities to defer monthly payments. If any of you have a brick and mortar location where you are paying a monthly rent, talk to your landlord to see if there's an opportunity to defer for a couple of months. I'm hearing success stories of some people having some luck there. Are there paid subscriptions or other monthly expenses that you can put a temporary hold on right now? Maybe technology solutions that you're working with or other services that you may not be taking advantage of as much right now as you normally do. And if you need new equipment, you might want to consider leasing or buying used instead of new. We also need to take a look at our discretionary spending. Are there things that we're spending money on that we really can do without right now? I know sometimes it's tough, but it's important. And finally, with those payables that you have, really schedule them for payment at the last possible minute. Important to preserve your cash and hang on to it for as long as you can. Now, part of minding your business is also looking for ways to diversify your income. So, if you're not charging service fees or plan to go fees, there is no better time to put a structure in place that works for both you and your clients. Because there's no doubt, as I've mentioned before, that the value of working with a travel advisor is more apparent than ever before. Your customers need you, and you've got to believe that you're worth it, since it's critical that you're compensated even if a trip is ultimately canceled. Another way of minding your business is looking for ways to diversify the products that you're selling. So selling insurance or commissionable airline tickets is another great way of diversifying your income and also in managing cash flow. Think about it. Commission paid on insurance comes in months before the client travels and months before you're getting commission on the rest of the trip. And commissionable airline tickets are based on the ticketing date and not the travel date. So just something to keep in mind. Above all, you've got to tell your story. Again, the value that you bring, it's evident, but don't assume that people know it. Tell that story and share your value because, trust me, you guys have earned it. So I just want to touch on a couple of the things that Nexion Travel Group is doing to help our advisors with some of these things that I like to bucket under minding your business. We've implemented a series of what we call Chaos to Control Back to Basics webinars. And we look at topics such as surviving a business downturn, how to apply for financial support, how to deal with force majeure, tips on how to host virtual consumer shows, and also strategies on leveraging your database to keep close to your customers. And these are just a few examples where our agents can access either live or 24/7 on demand in our learning management system. Also, some of our advisors have access to coaching if they participate in our multi-agent programs. Okay, ready for the third ingredient? The third ingredient that we need to crush adversity and make that glass of orange juice is all about adaptability. Because times of disruption are often the best times to implement bold changes. And it's a great opportunity to reflect on your business and ask yourself some of the following questions. Is your niche too narrow? Is there an opportunity to expand on the products that you sell to align with where consumer demand is right now with more domestic travel options? Can you make money selling what you're currently focused on? Are you positioned for a phased recovery? You want to identify opportunities to get some of that close-in business, some of those trips that people are looking to book in 2020, because these can certainly help your cash flow. So look for fun domestic getaways, short Mexico or Caribbean vacations when those destinations open up. Villa rentals are doing extremely well. These are just a few ideas of things that consumers are looking at right now. You also want to look at the customer segment that you're focused on. Arguably, older clients may be a little slower to resume travel than younger ones. Is there another demographic or psychographic that you could be targeting right now that may be more effective for today's environment? Now, I want to share with you a short story of one of our advisors who really made this work for him. He had always had a successful business, doing a lot of upper premium and luxury sales, doing a lot of groups, and his business was growing. But about a year ago, he wanted to diversify. He wanted to go after a younger market, go after the avid cruise, and he built a tremendous YouTube presence. And his channel and his followers are growing and growing. The result is that the past several months have been his best selling months ever, because he diversified what he sold and he diversified who he was selling it to. So I want you to keep that in mind and think about opportunities where you can apply that to your own business. You also need to think about where you're operating your business from. If you currently have a retail location, you really need it moving forward. I mean, all of us have been working from home the last few months, whether that was our normal routine or not. And perhaps your brick and mortar agency could be an expense that you could get rid of. You also want to think about how you've been operating your business. I know many of you have probably been on your own. You felt that you didn't need a host agency. That may still be the case, but it's probable or possible that it's not the case anymore. So you should always be looking into your options and see if now is the right time for you to be working with a host agency, to see how your revenues might be able to increase and how your expenses might be able to be managed. You owe it to yourself, and I like to say you want to make a decision from a position of strength. So if you are ready for a change and you are ready to perhaps have a conversation with Nexen Travel Group, I'm just going to touch on 5 benefits that can help you as far as being adaptable and that can help you build your business in another way. First, there's marketing. We have a number of programs where we can do marketing on your behalf to help promote your value to your customers as a travel professional. Next, there are tools and technology, things that you can use to simplify the booking process or to streamline operating processes. Third, there's top-tier commissions. With Nexen Travel Group, you can earn top-tier commissions on over 140 air, cruise, and land supplier partners. Fourth, business development. Regardless of where you are in your travel career, we have a variety of live and recorded training and business development programs that will help you adapt and to change and to be there for where your business takes you. And finally, that whole thing about connection. We like to say that we're a family, that we're a community, and that we're stronger together. So that professional networking and staying connected with support could really help you at this challenging time. So earlier I introduced you to Carlin, Wendy, and Erica, and any one of those wonderful ladies would be more than happy to talk you through and walk you through that process. Okay, so now let's talk about our fourth ingredient. Our fourth ingredient is all about connections. Now your number one connection is with your customers. You should be planning on proactively reaching out just to check in with them. Now I'd like to challenge you to strive for 5. If possible, make a plan to contact 5 customers proactively every day. That's not possible, at least every week. You just want to let them know that you're there for them and that whenever they're ready to start planning travel again, you are happy to help them. You got to listen to them and take your cue from them. Some might be ready, others not so much. And making it about them is just so key. The one thing that it's important is that if you have a customer who has a future travel credit of any type, make sure that that customer knows that you're there for them when they're ready to redeem it. You don't want to assume that they know that, because the reality is that credit belongs to the customer and not to you, the agency. Now, other than a good old-fashioned phone conversation, there are other great ways to connect with your customers. I've seen advisors have great success in creating a monthly newsletter with relevant information and tips that would really help keep customers informed on what's going on there, what destinations they might want to consider. So if you're not doing that, you might want to think about doing that. You also want to use your social media challenges to engage with them. Find out where they want to go. And the most important thing is if someone comments on your post about a destination that they're dreaming of traveling to, then please use that information later. Document it in your CRM so that from time to time, you might be able to send them some information that might help stimulate that dream. Most importantly, the care and the empathy and the patience that you're showing right now is probably the best investment that you can be making in your future long-term relationships with your customers. Make it about them and not about you. It will pay off. And finally, now is a great time to encourage your customers to help support your small business. Not only by booking travel when they're ready, but also by referring other potential clients to you, or by writing a review for your website or your social media channel or for your agent profile. Well, it's also important to connect with colleagues. Although many of you may work from home, you don't have to operate alone. It's important to not forget that you're part of something bigger. I am always encouraged by the fact that independent travel advisors are collaborative and not competitive. So tap into host agency connections or other travel advisor communities like the OG's own travel professional community. So many of you are part of those and other Facebook groups. Determine if there are any live networking opportunities that you can tap into when we're ready for that, or supplier presentations that may be going on in your area. And when the time comes, really make it a point of attending live conferences held by your host agency or consortia. Also, some of the others that are in the industry, like Cruise World or GTM or CLIA's Cruise 360, the ASTA Global Convention, or the Travel Agent Forum in Las Vegas, just to name a few. Also, now is a great time to look at peer mentorship. For those of you who've been in the industry for years, do you have time to give back to someone that might be starting out? And for those of you that are just starting out, you may bring a fantastic soft skill into the travel industry, like social media or marketing, that experienced advisors may benefit from. So we can all really work together to make each other stronger and learn from each other. And finally, you got to support your industry trade association. Not only is ASTA doing so much right now promoting and defending our industry, but the local chapter system that is such a foundation of ASTA is a great way to connect with advisors in your area. So if you're not a member, do me this one favor and please consider doing so. So some of the solutions that Nexion Travel Group offers to help our advisors stay connected, both with each other and with their customers, are we've got a phenomenal omni-channel themed marketing solution that we call Escape. These are themed publications that we do 4 times a year. There's print, there's digital, there's social, you name it. And it leverages and is built on top of the Travel Leaders Network engagement platform. These are personalized with your brand and sent to your customers on your behalf. We also just rolled out our Leaders Edge consumer website solutions. So these are great ways of having that web presence with both customers and prospects. And that Leaders Edge site is included in your Nexion membership. I talked about networking with colleagues. So we've established a number of what we call networks or Nexion networks. And these are great ways for advisors to connect locally with others in their area for virtual or in-person networking. Mentoring is also key, and we have these great peer-to-peer mentorship programs where you can get together with other advisors who may have a like-minded niche or business focus. And then finally, we have our exclusive social media community that we call Nexion Town, where our advisors can share best practices and can collaborate. So now we're ready for the 5th out of 6 ingredients to crush adversity and get up and go. And that one is communication. It is absolutely key during these crazy times. But to start off, you need to stay informed so that you can keep your customers informed. So read the trade publications, stay on top of supplier policies. Within moderation, watch the news. It's so important, though, that you avoid speculation and stick to the facts. Like me, your crystal ball is in the shop as well, so please be careful, don't speculate. It's always wise to point them to credible sources like the CDC or the World Health Organization websites. There's also a great resource that IATA put out, their interactive travel regulations map, where you can click on a particular destination that clients may be interested in going to find out the status of that destination right now. So please, look into that resource as well. As you communicate, remember to be empathetic and make it about your customers. Listening is the most important communication skill right now. So be a good listener and let them know that you're there for them when they're ready to talk about future travel. It's important to make your customers feel that they're not alone. So some of the ways that we have been staying engaged with our advisors to give them the resources so that we can communicate effectively with them to help them communicate effectively with their customers are that we created a special COVID-19 microsite where we just have all sorts of information, supplier policies, information on how to apply for loans or for the pandemic unemployment insurance. Useful links that our advisors can go to and in some cases share with their customers. We have a monthly e-newsletter that we do once or twice a month that we call The Advisor. Recently, we kicked off what we call Chime and Chat. So these are Zoom parties every other week where advisors can share what's on their mind, share some of their wins, and we've also had some fun along the way with virtual exercise classes and virtual scavenger hunts. We have a news feed on the homepage of our agent portal that we call My Nexion that has all sorts of important updates. And our public relations department puts out talking points that can help you in deal with customer questions. They're to be used reactively and not proactively, but it helps to position you when you get questions that you may not know how to answer. And finally, just a variety of resources that advisors can use to communicate with their customers, including social media posts, including what we call Swiss cheese communications, where advisors can fill in the blanks to customize it and personalize it to their customers. So we're now ready for our final ingredient that I'm going to talk to you about today, and that is partnership. You know, at Nexion, we really love the partnerships that we have. We have partnerships with our advisors, and we also have partnerships with suppliers. Now, as you look at picking your partners, you want to make sure that you understand what works well for your business. So like you, suppliers are going through an unprecedented time, and there is no rule book to follow. So I want to just give you a couple of tips on how you can crush adversity and work with these partners. I'm going to go back to a theme I've touched on a couple of times, and that is being empathetic. So be empathetic to their situation. They have no too little new revenue coming in right now. You're not always going to like the policies that they have out there, or if you do like the policy, you may not like how they're executing those policies. But you got to remember, for the most part, their intent is to do the right thing for their customers and yours, and for the travel advisor distribution channel. Also, please don't shoot the messenger. Your supplier BDMs are doing their best. They've got to deliver news. They don't create the policies. And so it's important to remember to try and not show frustration when talking with them. Have that empathy. Also, it's important that you set realistic customer expectations. So if a supplier advises you that it'll take up to 90 days to process a refund, you want to share that information with your customers and set that expectation so that they're not contacting you 30 days from now checking to see where their refund is. I also suggest that you calendar a reminder for yourself just before that 90 days comes up so that you can reach out to your customer, see if that refund is being processed. Trust me, they will certainly appreciate that you're staying on top of the situation. Also, your supplier BDM is not just there to help you resolve problems. What they love to do is to help you build business. So why not schedule some Zoom calls with the suppliers that you really want to focus with or focus on when you're ready to get back selling travel. They are happy to help you. Many of them are actually open to working with you on partnering on virtual consumer shows to get your clients dreaming. Maybe a virtual river cruise or an African safari or a tour of the Irish countryside. I always say that a picture speaks 1,000 words. And finally, the best way to thank suppliers who are there for you now is to bring them business as soon as you can. Support those who support you. So the benefits that we as a host agency are able to bring to you as a travel professional is through some of these supplier partnerships that we have established that can be so valuable to you. From the highest commissions to support both locally through secondary phone field and nationally through being a national account with many of these suppliers can really help you. From time to time, there may be exclusive offers. Our suppliers invest their time and money to ensure that we're able to deliver top-notch specialty training events. And we feel honored because we have been recognized by several of our supplier partners, and we realize that this recognition is not because of what we've done, but it's because what we've done collectively with all of our advisors. When we collaborate, we're all successful. So just to conclude, Nexion Travel Group is a powerhouse host travel agency that's here to support you. We've been hosting since 1995 with 25 years of experience as an industry leader. We are wholly owned by Travel Leaders Group and Internova Travel Group. So we empower our members to grow their business and increase their profits because of our size, strength, and expertise. Hosting is all we do. We don't deal directly with consumers, and our marketing efforts are targeted to help our advisors manage and grow their business. And we also expanded up north about 7 years ago and have a solid presence in Canada after partnering with an agency that had over 40 years of experience in the Canadian market. So I really want to thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that this recipe for orange juice gave you some useful tips that you can take back and action as you look at what makes sense for your agency. Before we get to any questions that may have come in, I just want to end by reiterating our vision, mission, and core values, because I think it's so important that we share these with you. Every strong partnership includes shared values. So our vision is to be the most valued, sought after, and innovative host-travel agency. Our mission is empowering success for our members, industry partners, and colleagues. And we have 5 core values: excellence, expertise, integrity, satisfaction, and education. So with that, I am ready to take any questions that may have come up. Joni, is there anything?
I'm here. Thank you so much. Wow, that was awesome. And actually, I'm not the only person that thought that, because you were getting a lot of comments saying what a great webinar it was. And thanking you so much, Jackie. Not only was it really helpful, just to understand everything that Nexion offers as well, but I don't know, it was a calming, a very introspective webinar that made us all, I think about how we can be more positive right now looking forward, and how to use our time effectively. So I appreciate that very much. I think we all need that kind of medicine, and I think you were a really good doctor today. We're a good doctor today.
Yeah, I'm prescribing orange juice for all of you.
Good. So I do have a few questions for you, Jackie, if you have a sec for that. Sure. One of the questions I had, and that some people mentioned as well, were in regard to specializing. Do you recommend specializing or selling all types of travel? And or second part to that question, after you answer that, what kind of specialties are you seeing recently that seem to be picking up versus maybe what had been in the past?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And, sometimes times might bring about a change. So I am still a believer in specializing, but you want to take a look at what you're specializing in and determine if that makes sense right now. And so sometimes just by, taking on another area or expanding a little bit, maybe what you're specializing around is a customer segment versus a product. Or maybe what you're specializing on, if you were specializing in a destination that is not going to be open anytime soon, you may want to look at changing. The second part of that question should come into play. So we're definitely seeing more and more interest in domestic travel. That's definitely bouncing back first. And so you want to look at opportunities where you may want to let your customers know that you're happy to help them with domestic travel. Look for, as I said earlier, people are looking for villas or home rentals. They're looking for, either taking road trips or domestic flights where they may stay in hotels. So if your specialization is not one that people are booking right now, then, open up a little. But in general, I am always a believer in knowing more about less rather than less about more. So if you are an absolute generalist and that's your business, it might work, especially if you're a small town travel advisor where you do everything. But it does mean that your marketing is going to be more complex and your education is going to be more complex. So just a couple things to keep in mind.
Okay, those are great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, so also I had a question. Do you encourage and make it easy or help out with the process of learning how to collect planning and service fees at Nexion?
We've done some webinars on planning and collecting service fees, and that training begins right from the beginning. So our new agent training, we advocate for those right from the beginning.
Perfect.
So, and we also encourage advisors to share kind of their structure, and a lot of times our advisors can learn from others as well.
It kind of goes back to your specialization, but not exactly. So if someone's affiliated with Nexion, can they sell all types of travel? I mean, cruises, hotels, tour operators, air. I know some host agencies don't, participate in air programs. Does Nexion do that? Okay.
Yeah. So remember, you are your own business. And the great thing about working with Nexion is that you can sell any type of travel. We have air programs for advisors that use any of the 4 GDSs. So if you have been in the industry for a long time and use a GDS and want to continue, great. And we have fantastic commissionable air contracts. We also have a great graphical tool for those that want to take advantage of the airline commissions, but they don't have any interest in learning how to use a GDS. Some of our advisors are corporate, some are leisure, some sell cruise, some sell tour. So the answer, Joni, is all of the above.
Okay, perfect. And so another question I have is, when you work with Nexion, do you have to be an experienced agent? Can you be a brand new, like right a newbie, as we like to call them affectionately? Or I mean, can you have 30 years of experience? So do you take like all types of agents at Nexion?
Absolutely. So we have fantastic new agent programs, virtual campus independent learning that Erica can certainly help. She's our go-to girl for new to the industry. But we have advisors that have more experience in the industry than I do, and everything in between.
That's fantastic. I know last year we at Travel Professional News had the honor of covering your conference, and I was just so amazed with the collaboration and just everything that was offered by Nexion. So I know you guys do an impressive job. So I think I don't see any questions that we haven't really already addressed right now. I think you just hit every nail on the head, and you taught us how to make a drink out of something we didn't think we could make. And I just kind of think I'm going to throw a little vodka into it. I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking that might just add a whole level to it. But
Me
honestly,
too. I give everyone permission. Make yourself a great screwdriver now that you have your orange juice.
Yeah, and then we heard that, everyone, from our doctor Jackie Friedman, MD.
Exactly.
So,
that's my prescription.
It's been a wonderful webinar. I think I'd like to, first of all, I just want to thank everybody that was on here today and for listening so intently and hopefully gaining as much as I did from it. And Jackie, to you and your amazing team, thank you so much today for a well thought out and a very, such a nice webinar to listen to. You really, you have a real way with words, young lady, and it was awesome. It was so wonderful. So I think I'd like to join in with another one of our participants today, Nancy, who said, thank you so much for your words of encouragement and for your inspiration. So Jackie, thank you for being here. Agents, thank you for being with us today. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Joni. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.